Hey.
Hey. Are we gonna start with The Bachelor? 'Cause I'm like in love with The Bachelor right now, and Love
Yeah,
is Blind is
I
one.
know.
Like,
I
I can't even tell you what happened on Love is Blind because I'm like I watched them and I watched The Bachelor, but The Bachelor just like sticks out way more. But I don't know if it's because it's just one guy and like multiple girls, and I can follow that storyline better. Where like right now we're still in the pods, and there's like multiple people. Anyways,
yeah, I know. We were just saying before we hit record that like we have no notes. We're a little like less prepared than we planned to be, but whatever. We'll fly by the seat of our pants. And I'm totally happy with starting with The Bachelor. I actually just finished it last night because
okay,
Jagger's been on spring break. So we've been doing things and college tours and all that. So like I was watching it in chunks and it's fresh on my memory.
yeah.
And you're obsessed with Grant. So let's just start there. Let's dive in.
I think he is just such a little sweetie. Like every time he talks to these girls and he like shares his dreams for his family, I just can't get enough. Like I just can't. I'm just like, Grant, you are like just you've got it going on. Like he just is such a good guy, I think. I mean, he could dupe us at the end and we could be like, "Oh man, you actually kind of suck." But right
Right.
now I'm like, I don't know. I'm Team Grant right now. I think he's going to be one of my favorite bachelors. I know people are like, "This season's boring," and whatever. I don't find it boring. I like him a lot. I do have some things. Okay, so let's start out. Who's okay? Juliana's date was first.
Okay. Yeah. But before we say that, I just have to say this. You look so beautiful.
I've been braiding my hair. Thank you. I've been braiding my hair at night, and then I'll just like let it be natural. And then I did do my crunchy SPF this morning and a little bit of blush.
Yeah. You look gorgeous. I literally, because we got back from a college tour late last night and if you can't hear my cat, he's been like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on with him. He's crazy. Um, he's like had separation anxiety or something with Jagger. Anyway, um, so I was laying in bed looking up buzzard information until the last minute this morning because I'm like obsessed with buzzards and hawks and vultures. So anyway, and I saw a bunch yesterday. So anyway, uh, we are polar opposites, but I just had to say how gorgeous you look because
Thank you.
I don't
I
know.
think you look great.
Oh well, thank you. This is the roll out of bed
Yeah.
old sweat look.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, Juliana's date was first.
I think it's funny if you like think about all the dates. Like Juliana's not one probably to ride four wheelers. Zoe's probably not one to do yoga, and Latia clearly was not into the zip lining. So I thought it was like interesting, and I wonder if he did that on purpose to like stretch them or put them in what he thought might be like adventurous, uncomfortable situations just to see like how they did. And I loved how he was like, I saw her over there like looking in the mirror and making sure she looked fine. And he's like, I think she's beautiful. And I was like, Grant, you were so cute. And he brought that up to her. I thought that
I
was so
know.
cute. He was like, don't worry about it. Like it's fine. You look
I
good.
know.
Like don't worry
Isn't
about it.
that the best? Yeah, that's like the best feeling. I've kind of been in that situation where um I've had a man, well more than one, but like one that I'm thinking of very in particularly say to me, you don't have to like look a certain way with me. You don't have to, And it was like really early and that it feels good because I like to like if we're going on dates look cute, but also like as a woman, you
Mhm.
don't want to like we can't be perfect all the time. We can't have makeup on all the time. Our hair can't be fixed all the time. And it was so cute because they were like out in the mud and doing all that, and she was still trying to like look her best for him because
I
she's
know
in
I
a
was cracking up.
she's in like competition basically.
Yeah. I was trying to decide like if I was in that position, if I would be worried about my makeup. but like I guess I come from more of like a rural area.
Yeah.
So that to me is like normal. I guess like getting muddy and stuff. I don't know that I would like look at myself. Maybe if it was a first date, I don't know. I was trying to decide if that would be something that I would be like on edge about or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I would be either, but I'm also more like, you know, I love the city and really nice things, but I grew up in Eastern Kentucky and I can like get
Yeah.
down like, the hills and the mud and all the things. And I love just being at the beach and having like zero makeup on. But I do think
Yes.
I wore a ton of makeup to a date because, they don't really know what they're doing, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I had goggles on and all that. I would probably wonder if I had like eyeliner or mascara smeared all over my face.
Yeah.
After.
That's
I
true.
would just probably be like, let me wipe my eyeballs off
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was trying to decide. What did you think about Juliana like sharing her like cheating ex? Like what did you think about that?
um well, I mean, I'm glad that she shared it because it's relevant, I think, in relationships, especially. I think it was vulnerable of her to say, I'm still working through this. Like, this
Yeah.
scarred me, and I'm not all the way healed from it.
Mhm.
Because, we talked before about like, you don't have to be 100% perfect or healed or ready. Like, you're always going to be growing and changing in relationship. But are you like with something like that? And I've been through that in relationships. So like, are you healed enough to not make the other person pay for it or to not expect unreasonable things from them? Like, that's kind of for me, that's like the edge. Like, I went on a date not long ago with a guy, like just a few weeks ago. And immediately, first thing in the beginning, he was telling me how his wife cheated on him and he doesn't think people should go do anything with friends that are the opposite sex. And like, he went down this whole thing. And I was immediately like, oh, yeah, that's not who I am. Like, I do go do things with my guy friends. And,
Yeah.
um, no, it's like, I don't know. And obviously things do shift when you're in serious relationship with someone, but like, I have male friends who I've had for years and who, you know, for me that was like him saying that on a first date and he brought it up multiple times and he was like, you would need to make me comfortable. You need to make me comfortable. And I was like, eeks, no more, like, I'm not interested at
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah.
so for me, that's what I mean by that line of like, he clearly hadn't dealt with enough of his own stuff, or maybe he just, somebody will give him that. I don't know. But like, I think, how
Okay.
are you healed enough?
Okay. Go.
Like, are you healed
Yeah.
enough to like have the relationship? So I don't know. What did you think?
I had a hard time with her and I think she's a lovely girl. But like the way she shared it, and I know that she says like laughing and joking is like her way to like cope with things. I like she was kind of smiling when she was saying all this stuff. And then I was like, I mean, Grant, obviously, he was there in the moment. So he looked like he felt the emotion coming from her. Where like
Yeah.
I'm watching it from a screen. So I'm not in the moment. Like I don't feel like super connected. But like the smiling kind of like threw me off a little bit. And I try to remember that that's what she said. Like she's being honest about who she is as a person. Like she tries to, smile her way through difficult things. And I just had a harder time, I think, like I don't want to say buying it because that's not my place, but like I don't know. I
It
just had a
didn't
hard
feel
time
authentic.
connecting. Yeah, I just had a hard time connecting with it because like I feel like she was smiling and like I couldn't decide. Like I was just like, okay, like I don't know. I feel like sometimes they when they have these dates too, they go into it with like, I need to present it this way. Like, I need to share this information because,
Yeah.
that's just like what the show does. It's like, oh, I better tell my truth. I better tell my story. I better tell my crap. And I mean, it's fine to share. Like, I think it's great to share. But sometimes I wonder, like, maybe, you have the opportunity for the overnight. So maybe that would be a time to be like, hey, by the way, like, this happened to me. This is something in my life. Like, I don't want people to feel like they have to share it, like, at a certain point or a certain date or a certain time in front of the camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. And I think I can't, it's an interesting concept to try to wrap my brain around sometimes because I think that like I like to just let things happen organically and be in a flow. And as a
Hmm.
manifesting generator, I'm like in response to things all the time. And so that is my strategy is responding and informing. And so like I think that I could see how the pressure of this is the only time I'm really getting with him and I'm on this date. So I've got to like say it. I need to inform him this is going
Hmm.
on. And it's like, but it would maybe feel forced or like not as organic as if you were just
Yeah.
dating someone and like how things would come up. And so I do think about that a lot when I am watching the show. I'm like, well, because I thought about that actually with Latia too.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I don't want to say frustrated because I'm not on the date. Like, I act like I'm part of this whole scenario, and I'm really not. Like, I like all of these girls. I think they're great girls. Um, because I thought about that with Latia too. I don't know if you were thinking this, but like when she, was so nervous and so scared, like she didn't even tell him. And I was like, girl, just tell him that like this makes you uncomfortable. Like, oh my gosh, I am so like nervous right now. Let him comfort you. Let him show up for you. Don't stand there and just like have all these big emotions and just shove them to the side because you're not even probably going to be able to like really dig into the date because you have
Yeah.
all these emotions you haven't like let come out yet.
Do you mean when she didn't want a zip line?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is she not being like, oh my God, this is so scary. This is not something I would normally do. Like, because they usually, like, that's part of those kind of dates. Like, that's part of how they can connect and get to know each other better. And she totally robbed him of that experience and herself of the experience of being met where she was and being comforted and cared for.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no,
I did
I
think it's
agree.
funny that she was like when she was putting on the like whatever, like what the harness
Right.
that's called. She's putting the harness on and she's like, oh my gosh, it looks like somebody peed in it. And I was like, that is something I would say when I'm uncomfortable and grumpy about something. Like, like I would make a silly comment like that. And then I don't know, like I don't know if Grant picked up on that. It's just something I would do. And I just laughed because I was like, yeah, that's something I would totally do. But I also am so on your side. Wish she would have like been more open about like being uncomfortable. Like you don't have to hide stuff from him. Like the whole point is you're gonna marry
Well,
him, so you should show up and be comfortable with him.
right. And even with that, when she decided she didn't want to hear about any of the other dates and she wasn't going to sleep with him, like it's fine to have those boundaries and to feel that way. But I
Yeah.
just felt like the way she went about handling it and telling him it was, I don't know, like like back to your point, with Juliana, it not feeling like fluid and it's not inauthentic, but like just it it felt forced and it felt like, okay, I'm holding it in. Now I'm just gonna blurt it out that like this is, you know, whenever
Yeah.
the room key like thing comes up, I'll just blurt this out now.
Hmm.
And um I don't know. It just felt weird to me.
Yeah. I think like if she would have been a little more open, like, I just to like protect myself and my feelings, like I personally just can't, have that experience with you right now because I mean it's a big deal. So like
Yeah.
if you don't want to share your body with somebody not knowing if they're going to pick you in the end or not, like I respect that. Like if that's
Yeah.
where you are, but just say like, out of like protecting my own heart, like I love you, I think you're great, but I need to protect myself here just a little bit and like not do that.
Right.
But I still want to spend time with you. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It was like it came across to me. You can tell me if it did to you, but it came across to me like she was so nervous to say this to him, or like, instead of just being like, this is like who I am and this is what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they get so far into it. And I remember being in this position where it's like, well, I don't want to like chase you off because I'm not going to have sex with you, but like, this is where I'm at. And like, obviously, if that's a deal breaker for Grant, then like, he's not your person. At the end of the day, like, he's not your person. I don't know. Yeah, there were several things with the dates. And I know they're all still so new in this relationship. They don't know each other that well. But like, even with Zoe's date, where she was like not having a good time with the yoga, like, I understand being caught off guard and be like, oh no, I don't know how I feel about this. But like, you know, at, huh? Yeah. You want some grapes? She wants some. Can she have some? Okay. There's strawberries in my refrigerator. If you go get them, I'm sorry. If you go get them and bring them to me, I'll open them and she can eat those. Um, anyway, so I think that like with Zoe's date when she's like afterwards, I don't know. I always felt like she was kind of reprimanding him, like I didn't like it at all. And I was like, okay, if
Yeah.
I was Chris, I would kind of feel defeated after that. Like, all right, I tried to plan this fun thing for you and you didn't like it. Like, whatever. I would be a little defeated, but after that, like, and to me, I could see why she wouldn't have fun because she's so stiff. Like, even when they're sitting on the couch, she's like way over here. And I'm like,
Right. But
girlfriend, what is this? Like, you
maybe that's
really love him?
partly why he
Relax.
wanted to have that kind of date though, because like, can she be a little loosen up a little or be more flexible?
Yeah.
Um,
Get some for
I thought
Abigail.
it was funny that he was like,
There's one more left. No, I have a whole other box in there. Get one for Abigail, please.
I thought it was funny because he was like, I was just thinking, don't fart.
I know. I love him for that. I think that's so funny. I would love to do that. I honestly have seen that a couple times, and I'm like, man, Jeremy and I need to do this because I think it would be so fun to like do that together. I think it'd be fun. I think the no talking was kind of weird. I thought that was silly, but
Yeah.
whatever. That
Yeah.
was that thing date. But I would think it would be super fun to try and do like couples yoga.
Couples yoga is a blast.
Oh, I bet. I need
Yeah.
to try it.
It's really fun. And I mean, it's fun with your romantic partner. It's fun with just a friend. Like I
Oh my
found
gosh, that'd be so fun with a friend.
yeah.
I should have yogurt. Okay, that's fine. She wants one. Okay, I'm going to get.
But yeah, I think it would be hard to like not speak at all on a date. Like that was a little to me weird. Does he plan the dates or just production? Like how does that work?
I'm assuming it's kind of his idea. I would guess it's his idea.
Or do they give him like options? Like here's some things in the area.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be curious. That would be a really good question to ask. I would assume that like it would be kind of his idea because I feel like he knows when he goes in. I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I think he probably knows what they're doing, but I'm wondering if production gives him a list of things to choose from. And maybe
Probably.
he gets like 5 to 7 options and he's having 3 dates, so he picks which one he wants to do with which person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would assume that production's probably into it pretty heavy, but I don't know if like they pick the dates for him or I would
Yeah.
assume he would pick.
Yeah, or at least
I don't know.
like
What about his parents? Like, I and this is like, I don't want this to be judgment because I don't know. But like, just looking at his mom and his dad, I'm like, where did Grant come from? Where did his sister come from? Like, where did they come from? Like, you can just tell that his parents have been on a journey, like that they've had a rough go of things. And I don't mean that to be like mean or hateful. You can just
Yeah.
tell, like it's all over their, body language, their facial expressions, just like their makeup. You can just tell that they've been through a lot.
Yeah, and it was funny because you had texted me about his parents, and I was like, "Well, when are they ever gonna show up on the show?" And then it was just that short little bit at the end,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, yeah, I mean, I think for sure, like, I can see what you're talking about. I can see that, like, it seems like he and his sister definitely took what they were handed and leveled up from it.
Yeah. I think
And
yes. They are
I
the proof that like you don't have to stay where you are. Like you don't have
right,
to become a drug addict just because your dad is. Like you can do better. You can be better.
yeah, and I think that, like, that's a beautiful example to have because so many people feel like they are victim to their circumstances. And, we've talked about this before, but, like, I just don't believe in that. Um Obviously terrible things can happen to people and it's awful and we have to, but I think we can always use it for our benefit and like whatever's happening is for our highest good. I don't believe anything is happening like without that underlying intention of this is for my highest good, this is for me to grow and become even better. And I feel like they took that, like that kind of mindset with it,
Hmm.
instead of being like, you know, and again, like you were saying, you don't want to sound judgy. I don't want to sound like harsh or like I don't care or anything, but they could have very easily just been like, for me, this is what's happening in my family. So I'm going to go be destructive. I'm going to use drugs. I'm going to steal. I'm going to whatever. Like, go lash out in a million ways that they could have. And it looks like that they took that and learned. Like it looks like Grant watched his dad, and instead of emulating what his dad did and perpetuating that cycle, he said, "Oh, I can see that what my dad is doing is causing pain, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to shift that in myself, and that cycle is going to stop with me."
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think he's such a good guy. After like meeting his family and hearing his story and yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of effort and skill and resilience to get to the point where he is, ready for a family, ready for marriage. All
Yeah.
that.
What do you think of them bringing the girls like from other seasons over?
Mm, I know people are mixed about this, but I think it was fine. I like that they've already been through it, so they kind of like know, what each girl is going through. Um, I think it was good. And like the girls don't really have anybody to talk to besides production. And production obviously like has a skewed, in my opinion, has a skewed point of view. So to get somebody else, to talk to and like have a sounding board, I think that that is good.
Yeah.
What did you think? I know other people are like, I hate when they do this and blah 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 and whatever.
I mean, it's fine. I think it's good it feels like, yes, the people get another opinion because it's not like they can call their best friend and say,
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this. What, like, talk me through this, you know? like we might do, right? Like I call one of my best friends and I'm like, talk me off the ledge. And but so I think it's great in that way. But for me, this particular episode, something about it fell flat for me. I just felt like it was very like do A, do B, do C, do A, do B, do C,
Mhm.
every with all three people.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was thinking about it and I can't exactly pinpoint the difference because when I've watched other like fantasy suite episodes, even though yeah, they're doing this same thing where you're just seeing the date, it felt different in other episodes. Like it felt more story like or more like it was going
Yeah.
through the motions. Like I didn't, and so I that's what I didn't like about it. It wasn't that I didn't like that they brought people in. It was like the exact same equation for all three people that we
Mhm.
saw. So it didn't create a good, like from a viewer perspective, I didn't feel like it kept me like not excited even, but like engaged or like,
Yeah. Mhm.
does that
Yeah.
make
A
sense?
a little like more produced, more like less authentic and more produced.
Yeah, it was like, okay, so wake up, have a Grant talk, watch the girl get ready, watch Grant be waiting for the girl to come,
Yeah, yeah.
watch them do whatever it is, watch them meet up again at night.
Mhm.
It was just like robotic. Whereas I feel like in other episodes, when they like other fantasy suite episodes, it's been more like we saw, like sometimes we would see more of the like date portion, like ziplining, but then in with other people, we would see more of like after that part where they would just sit and talk and be having meaningful conversations at that
Mhm.
point. And then there was less of the dinner, or this one, it seemed like we're going to spend 90 seconds on every single snippet with every single person in the
Yeah.
exact same order. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I just didn't love that.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Yeah.
So by
Yeah.
the time the third girl came from a previous episode to like talk, I was just like, ugh. It
Here we
wasn't that
go
I didn't,
again.
it was important. Yeah, it was just like, okay, another one.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
bringing it in. Like, yeah.
I hope they get paid for that. I felt really
Mhm.
bad for Grant though. Poor Grant. He tries really hard, I think, but like the awkward moments are not for him. Like, at the women's tell all last week, he's like trying to be excited about this magic mirror and like go with the flow. He is just not like that's just not him. Like last night, Monday night, or whenever I watched it, doesn't matter. Um, when Jesse came out and was like, Grant, this is the final rose, and he like, like smiled and nodded at Jesse, and I was like, oh, you poor thing, this is so awkward. It's so uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
you can just tell it's not like him. I don't think it's him. And then I also at the end I cringed when Latia told Juliana congrats. I
Me
was
too.
like,
I was literally
ew.
getting ready to say that to you. That was what I was
I
going to
wonder if
say.
they did it on purpose. Like I've never noticed it for other people. Like in other seasons, I've never like at the end they don't really say anything. And then when she said congrats, and I was like, poor Zoe. Like seriously, like this sucks. Like she held it together so well. I thought she did great. Um, but I
But
just was like
also,
horrified that she was like, congrats. I'm like, what?
and also how inauthentic because you're not actually happy that she's still there. Like that's a lie. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you like her as a human and you might be friends with her, you're not like, yay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't like
I mean,
that.
at least wait till she like is gone. Like don't react. Wait till she's completely gone and then turn to your friend and be like, "I'm so glad it's us." Like,
Yeah, but are you really?
everybody, yeah, I know that everybody is like not super happy with Latia or Latia with Zoe. I'm so wrong. Okay, go tell her to share. Okay. Um, but like with Zoe, I know people like weren't super happy that she was there, but I was just like, wow, way to put a nail in the coffin. Like,
Right,
boom,
right.
she's gone. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they did like her at the end. I don't know. I have no idea what their relationship was, but I just was
Okay.
shocked. I'm not sure. Can you go get the strawberries out of the fridge? Yeah. Great.
And I want, oh, it's okay. And I think we should shift gears since we only have a few minutes left before
Yeah,
you have to
let's do
leave.
Love is Blind. Yeah, I feel pretty complete about The Bachelor. I could go on because I love The Bachelor.
Okay.
And then Love is Blind, I'm like, I have no idea what happened. I can't even tell.
Okay, I will tell you
Okay, start us off.
two things I wanted to talk about, but we'll start with the first one, which was I always forget their names. Ben and Sarah.
Yes, those are names.
Okay. So you were talking about, I think in the last episode, how she kind of like is overbearing with him or whatever.
With her opinions,
Yeah.
yes. Because I
Yeah.
felt like when she approached him about her sister, it was basically like, you better agree with me or hit the road. Basically. Like,
Yeah.
you say you're a Christian, well, my sister's lesbian, so you better be okay with it. Like, I don't know. That's just how I took it. Like, she obviously has had, I don't know, she's either worried that somebody's going to be mean or say the wrong thing or something, or she's had bad experiences with people in the past. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I had sort of kind of forgotten about that. And then I was watching these next two episodes that we just watched, which was what, 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it all like came up again. And I think like for me, the takeaway was this. I think that people can like, we just all have to understand that not everyone is going to agree with us on every point or have the exact same passions or
Yeah.
feel as passionately. Even if I say like, yeah, that's important, it doesn't mean it's like going to like be the big center focus of all my attention and whatever in my life. It doesn't mean that I'm not as good of a person as you or that I whatever. It just, and I just mean with any subject matter, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking when I just feel like she really, I could see what you were talking about. Like in our last episode, I was kind of like, I had forgotten about that happening about her sister. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But then, and we didn't dive into it a lot. So then when I was watching the next two, I was like, oh my God, here she goes again. Yes. And it's okay. It's okay for people to just have different opinions
I
and
like what you're
feel
saying to
bad.
the extent. Like, you don't have to, you can like say, yeah, that was a terrible tragedy, but I don't have to, like you're saying with the passion, to the extent that you feel about this, I don't have to feel about it that way. Because, like, as you're talking, I'm just thinking like mob mentality. Like, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then you amp yourselves up. Like, if you both are so passionate about a subject to the point where, like, especially like very sensitive topics like this,
Yeah.
like, if you're amping yourself up to that extent, like, to me, it can get like bad. Like, honestly, I like it when, I can go to somebody or my spouse or whoever and be like, I feel very passionate about this, and then they come back at you with like, well, let's talk about this for a second, and then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
like, I get it. And I'm not saying for this specific circumstance, like, that's whatever, like, it is a very sensitive subject, but like in general,
Yeah. But
I think
everything
it's
is
good.
complex and layered and
Yeah,
nuanced and
that's true.
has so much depth. Every single topic. There's not one topic that isn't complex and nuanced and layered, right? Like we dove into the disability topic with dating. I don't know. I think that was the last episode. And like that's a very complex, layered, nuanced thing that everyone doesn't have to share the same opinion, but we could all see people's different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think politically, because they were talking about some politics stuff, and I don't even
Mm-hmm.
remember all the details, but like we can forget that that's also complex and layered and nuanced. It's not like black and white like people try to make it. It's very circular, it's not
Yeah.
linear. And so, and it spirals and like upward, downward, there's, if you know things about spiral dynamics, like that's a topic I enjoy talking about. We won't go into it. It's like kind of, nerdy, but the idea is that things are on this spiral. It's not good over here, bad over here. There's this complex spiral of the way things work. And so even politically, I've said this before, like when COVID happened, I was like, I'm a Democrat. And my dad is like Republican, and I felt like we were so far apart. And then when COVID happened, it actually, because of my own spiritual practices and like how I chose to engage with all of that, it brought my dad and I much closer. And I could see the similarities in our belief systems, even though, like, it was interesting. It was like we both want the same thing, even though we want it in different ways or
Yeah.
whatever. And then I could see how my belief systems about body autonomy no longer aligned with the people that I thought I aligned with, which were the Democrats. But then they also didn't align with the Republicans exactly. So it was like I was in this mid gray place. And I think we just forget that sometimes when we're talking about things that we are really passionate about, that it's actually not probably black and white.
No, it's definitely not. Mm-hmm.
And so I just like, for me, I just wanted to say that because when I was watching it, I was like, wow, like she really is identifying with this one concept. And is there room for other perspectives and maybe to just like lessen, because when like identity construction is something I studied in my master's program. So I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, is there a way to somehow start undoing a thread of how, like, not that she wants to do this, but in general, like how her identity has been constructed around this idea? Like, how could she start to unbraid that a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to just make it's not who she is? And we
Yeah.
can all like think about things in our life in that way. Does that make sense? Because I feel like kind of I'm like
Yeah.
making sense.
No, I'm following what you're saying loud and clear because I think sometimes we get so deep into like our thoughts and opinions and emotions that like, people don't agree with us and they are not right. And that's not true. That's not the case. There really is no, like you're saying, it's not that black and white. Like there's a lot more gray to the world, but I feel like some people approach it like very black and white. Like if you don't agree with this, then like you are in the wrong. And I thought it was interesting. He said he didn't agree. Like he just said he didn't have a strong,
Opinion.
yeah. And I feel like, good for him for being able to like navigate that conversation on a public platform in a
Yeah.
way that like didn't, you know, I guess to me, I didn't have an issue with how he said it. I'm sure somebody probably does. Like, how can you not have an opinion? But like, to navigate it on such a public platform, like your values and your beliefs, I think that's very hard. Like, I know that
Mhm.
you have to have those conversations, but I probably would wait till like cameras were off and stuff. Like, cause there's just certain things that I'm like
Yeah, and it's
not,
also
I say not okay with, but I guess I don't feel like putting the person that I'm, in love with on blast for
yeah,
the world to like criticize. Like I wouldn't want to put somebody in that position to like set them up. Not that that's what she did, but I wouldn't want to set somebody up for like ridicule. If
yeah,
I could help avoiding that. And I feel like so many people get ridiculed for stupid stuff.
yeah, that's
Like,
beautiful. Yeah.
like I could ridicule Ben a little bit because I always think it's cringy during the reveals, and then he's like running to Sarah, and I'm like, this is awkward. But that's his authentic feelings in the moment, and it's fine. Like you can't always predict how you're going to react. Like I
Yeah.
would be terrible at the reveal because I think I would be like, oh my gosh, it's you. I just think that I wouldn't do the reveal well at all.
I would, yeah, I don't know what I would even do because I feel like if I'm just the kind of person, like if I saw them and I was not attracted, they would just know it immediately. Like I can't
Yes.
do that.
Uh huh.
And if I was, I would probably be like, damn, like, okay, like I did
Yeah.
well, but who
Yeah.
knows in the moment. But I
Right.
also
Right.
think to your point about on the public platform, something I was thinking about is they also like we get snippets of their conversation and we don't know like if they went into some big deep thing, it's not like you're going to see an hour long talk to really understand his how he articulated all these things. I'm not saying that even happened. I'm
Mhm.
just saying. So like it isn't exactly the best place to have that kind of conversation because production's going to show little pieces of what you said that will inevitably that's going to like miscommunicate something
Yeah.
because you're not
Yeah.
getting the whole entire conversation.
Exactly. And I mean, the whole goal of the show is to like have drama, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would just try to avoid it. I also feel like these episodes, like, I think my issue with Dave is that,
Oh,
like,
that's the second one I was going to bring
yeah,
up.
that he came in, I feel like trying to be like super masculine, cocky, like, I work with people who get Botox and fillers, and blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with you? And then,
And us in our like natural, like
yeah.
whatever.
Like
Anyway.
the tape. Anyways, yeah. Um, and then in these episodes, I'm like, you are like just not masculine at all. Like, what is the deal with your sister? You keep bringing her up. Um, and then like his how he handled the situation with Molly, and she's like, "So are you done or what?" And he's like, "Well, I think I just said that." And I'm like, "No, you didn't. Like, you didn't come out and say anything to her. Like, I don't think
Oh,
that's crap."
see, I thought he was pretty clear.
Oh, you did? I don't know. I just don't think he's very
I
masculine.
don't
He
think
doesn't
he
hold
said,
good masculine containment for me.
no,
Like,
I
not one.
totally get that. I 100% agree with you there. 100%. I also think he didn't say outright, I don't think that I remember. I want to end up with you. I only want to be with Lauren.
Because I don't think he does. To be honest with you, I don't think he's that invested in Lauren.
But what he said was like he basically said that without saying it. Like I understood that's what he was saying, but I again think that what you are picking up on is like how he could have more clearly contained her and communicated without her having to come back and ask the question.
Yeah.
Um, and I think sometimes women too, but I've noticed I think sometimes men don't, they haven't been well trained in how to end a relationship and know that they can do that in a very like loving, containing way without either like being an asshole or just scurrying off into the night without saying a word.
Yeah, like wishy-washy.
Like, yeah, or like ghosting someone, or it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I've been watching like I've just been paying attention to how men communicate, especially
Yeah.
like I've been paying attention to
Perfect.
yeah, but then I'm paying attention as we're watching these shows because some of the men are clear about this is the person I want to date. Okay, I know. So, Madison, is she with Alex now? Is that his name?
Yes, but that whole situation was dumb too because she's like, "You're not whatever to Mason," and he's like, "I'm committing to you," and then she's like, "Ew," and I was like,
But
"Is that
then
not what
she
you want?"
didn't tell him ooh though. He
Yeah,
told her face, and then she
yeah.
acted like
Maybe
he,
it wasn't an ooh. Maybe she was just caught off guard, like, "Oh crap!" Like now he's like taking this
oh
seriously,
no,
and I
it
don't
wasn't.
know.
But the thing is, Alex was like certain that that's who he wanted to be with, and he let her know it.
Yeah,
And he also held the space for her to figure out, like, do you also want to be with me? He didn't just like cut bait and run because
yeah,
she wasn't sure yet, right? He still like let her have her process.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of hers in general. I just don't think she
Right
held.
her Alex in the beginning. I don't know. And then I'm getting a little confused as we go on because then I kind of really like Mason. Help me. And I like Meg. And I kind of feel like Mason might be getting like the bad end of the deal here because I think he really is interested in Madison. But then she's like, no. And then like that's screwing up the whole him and Meg thing. Like it's just kind of weird. And I was thinking about Meg and Mason at the end. Like I think if I was Meg, I probably would be able to forgive somebody for like saying somebody else was their number one or whatever, and then like backtracking on it and stuff because it is kind of confusing. You're in like a really confusing situation. You
Yes.
don't really know these people that well and you have to make these decisions and it just I could forgive somebody, I think. Because like you don't even really know the person in the pods. Like you think you know them, but you don't really know them. Come on. Like
Yeah.
I think that I could forgive somebody if like whatever ends up happening in that situation. Like I think I could because I mean you've heard Mason clearly say like he meant Madison was his number one. Like so I don't know. That
Right. But then he told Meg, didn't he,
like
that she's
well.
been she's the only one he ever gave a 10 to.
Yes. So I think that he's like trying to, put a band-aid over a bullet hole at this point, but I think it's okay. Like I understand what his deal is. Like I feel for him and his situation. Cuz like you
I do
ultimately don't want
too.
to live alone cuz your goal is to come here and find somebody and
Yeah.
it's probably super confusing. Like let's also so sorry, I'm like running out of time, but I also want to talk about Devin a little bit cuz I feel like we haven't talked about him a lot. And like Brittany telling him, that she had been with girls,
Oh yeah.
he
I
was like
forgot.
shocked. You could tell he was shocked. Like he was visibly like, I don't know what to do with this information, kind of. And it would be kind of shocking, I think, because you don't expect to hear people say some of the stuff that they say in these situations.
But I'm glad you brought this up because I have to say something about this
Yeah, say it.
that I forgot about until you brought it up. I could not understand what his obsession was with if she wanted a relationship with women, like if she was still open to that, because let's just say she is totally bisexual and she would be open. Her answer was no, like, which I actually understand completely. What I get that 100%,
Yeah.
I get it.
Mhm.
But even if her answer was yes, it's like Well, it's no different than would you be worried she would leave you for another man? Like,
Yeah.
it's no different. It's so I couldn't understand. Like, he had this, like, something in his brain that just wouldn't stop. And he was just like a bulldog or whatever, like on it. Like,
See, I
I,
thought he tried really well, I guess, to like, because it was kind of like a Ben and Sarah situation where you're like, I don't know how to respond to this right now. I really need to
yes.
think about it and process it. And like,
Well, I
I
do
think it's
think,
kind of weird that he was like worried about her still wanting to be with women.
see, I
Because,
thought he
yeah,
handled
like,
it pretty well, but I
he,
thought he was kind of like a bulldog about the woman thing. Like, well, do you still want to be with women? Do you still want to be with women? Would you want a relationship with them? Like, are you like, and for me, I'm like, you know what? When you thought she was just straight, you weren't asking this about men. Would you leave me for another man? Would you
yeah.
like want
Mhm.
to? So then
That's
why
a good point.
are you being this way about a woman? Like, it's no different. If she wants to be committed in a committed relationship and she believes in commitment and she wants to be married, then what, no matter if she married a man or a woman, that's her choice. And like, nobody else is going to pull her out of that.
Yeah. Yes. I totally get what you're saying. And I think you're right on the money there, where it was like, yeah, his whole concept of like what was happening was like flipped upside down. But I think that gave Brittany her answers. You know what I mean? I think she was really interested in Devin, but I think after they had that conversation, she got her answers that she was
Oh
looking
yeah.
for.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think it was,
Not that he's bad, not that, she's right, he's wrong, whatever. There nobody like it's just
no. And I
yeah.
don't think I thought he did handle, that was surprising news and he did need to process it. I have no problem with any of that. I think he handled it well.
Yeah. I feel like he's pretty masculine.
Yes. I just thought he was like on that one point. I'm like,
Yeah.
why does this matter?
Yeah, if she's gonna get married to you, she's like obviously marrying you and like wants to be with you, not women, not men, like nobody
Yeah,
else.
because the question could be, well, would you rather be with a man with a different color hair than me or different color skin than me? Or like for women, like a man or a woman with if if I was worried about my man going off with someone else, there are a plethora of reasons he could do that.
Yeah.
But if he's choosing me and wants to be with me and I trust that, then why go down that whole rabbit hole?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I hadn't really thought about that until you brought that up. Like, no, that makes total sense. Chill
Yeah.
out, dude. I don't know. I'm just not like super in love with this season. And I think it's probably because there are so many different storylines still. It takes a while for me to like remember stuff. Like I'm having a hard time remembering. Like I'm not super in love with Dave and Lauren. I'd like to see good things come for Alex and Madison.
See, and I just
Uh,
love Meg. And so I just feel like it's such a, like, I really hope that either the things work out with Mason or she finds some. I just think she's like, I think it's an unfortunate situation because this can just happen when you're dating multiple people
mhm.
where you do get confused or you don't, know exactly like there are things you like about this person, things you like about that person. And so how do you, and I think Mason is in that. I think he was in that.
Yeah.
I do think he was going more towards Madison.
Yes.
And maybe this is just redirection that's perfect. But I think I would like to see, just for selfish reasons, Meg and him get engaged so I could see like what else would develop
Yeah.
after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Meg is different than the other people because like and even Devin too. I feel like they're pretty true to who they are. They know what they want. You know, they know who they are as individuals, and like they just they're okay with who they are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like some of the other people are like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like maybe Lauren knows who she is, maybe, but like Madison's a little wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Alex is kind of wishy-washy because sometimes when Madison says stuff, he's like, oh, wait a second, what does this mean? But I think his caution comes from like his past experiences.
I do too. I do too.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm excited to keep watching. I'm excited to figure this whole Bachelor thing out. Like I'm on the edge of my seat.
Oh my gosh. It's
I'm
so
like,
I
ready.
always like when the girls meet the parents, like his parents.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that'll be next week, and that'll be an exciting one for me because I
Yeah.
like to just see how they interact together.
And they both come from good families. So I'll be curious to know like what, not that Grant's family is bad, but Juliana and Latia both come from families who are still whole.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see like how they form their connections and
Yeah. And
like what his sister thinks. I'm really curious to see what she thinks.
yeah. Yeah. I thought that
He
same
heard
thing.
that they keep showing those. Like his mom is like, well, don't pick anybody. Like if you're not sure, just leave it alone. Like walk away. And so I'm curious to hear that whole conversation unfold. Is next week the finale? Are we on the finale or is there another one? Is there an
Uh,
after the final rose? Like I'm
I
not
have
next
no
week.
idea.
I don't know either.
Going week by week with it because they do tend to like sometimes they switch up like how long, like sometimes this one's 2 episodes
Yeah.
or so I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't feel like I've heard them say 2 episode finale, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. Well, this has been really fun. I enjoy it every week. It's so fun.
Me too. I enjoy it. We always talk about interesting things. And actually, Love is Blind ended up being a really interesting conversation for me, even though we both were like, we can't remember what happened.
Yeah,
We worked that right out.
we did. We did. There's enough that stuck out that it worked.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
I'm glad you brought up the bisexual thing because I forgot about it.
yeah, I found that interesting. I was like, yeah, he has his answer, and so does she, I think. Like,
Yeah,
they're both not real sure now.
right.
Anyways, okay. Well,
Well,
we'll
go
talk to
enjoy your day.
you too.
I will. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.